Oh, Shep. What's up, y'all? It's been a long, 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 long time. Well, baby head. It's been a long time. But I'm NERDSoul. This is NERDSoul Light. And late ill kid at OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, all year, coming with another wonderful episode of Loungin. Loungin hasn't been around for a minute. I believe April 21st was the last episode. Tons of stuff been going on, been crazy, but we back. It's a little different, but we back. We still back. And a big shout out to everybody who rolls through into the chat, going to holler at a player. I see you, we see you. And actually, we'll have, we got some extra people in here. It ain't just me. Big shout out to Lady Lisa who's here.
Good morning.
See? All right. So boom. Got Lady Lisa in the house, got me in the house, got NERDSoul Light in the house. We lounging, chilling, doing our thing. Big shout out to everyone who's already watching but ain't chatted yet. Go to hit that thumbs up button. Also, big shout out to you. Good to see you. We might have Lady Lisa in the chat as well to be able to see what y'all saying and chat back and forth with y'all. And I'll be chatting back and forth with y'all. A little NERDSoul will be in the house too. So it's all good. So if you haven't been on lounging, that's cool. It's understood. It's been a long time. But this is where we get into news, Twitter beefs, hip hop, dumb stuff, whatever. But we got a more serious story to start off with, which is kind of we've had the Amber Guyger trial. We've talked about Amber Guyger. We talked about, we as a culture have talked about just the surrounding craziness, you know, then just dumbness.
Yeah.
But now I think we're getting into another mode with Joshua Brown where we're dealing with what his legacy is going to be, you know, and that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're dealing with what his legacy will be. And if you didn't know, of course, Joshua Brown was murdered, his life was taken. And it's being reported as if he was, you know, like this drug dealer and, you know, he was in the streets and, you know, all this good stuff. And I mean, we kind of know that there's something fishy about all this. Like we kind of get that. But my question to you is, how do you feel this case will go forward? Well, if you know, of course, his murder case, and also any kind of civil case that the Jean family may have, and also about the legacy of Joshua Brown, because they have been taking, you know, kind of like normal people and ruining their legacies like this before. It'd be like, oh, he was a drug dealer, you know, and it's wash their hands.
Yeah, this is just a continuation of the process.
True.
And I say the process because I feel like they have a process. And you know, in the article, you know, that we had looked at earlier, we'll probably be talking about, they did, you know, reveal that he had a record. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, they're not just pulling stuff out of the air. So he did have a past, you know, with drug charges and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're like, cool.
Yeah, that's our opening.
That's our opening. We can use that, you know, to our advantage.
Yeah, and being someone who has used drugs before doesn't make you a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? But that was kind of like their doorway.
He had drug possession charges before, but but like I was saying, you know, this hardened, you know, no hardened drug dealer gets on the stand with a Dragon Ball Z T-shirt on and cries about his neighbor being shot.
Yeah, and you know that it just was one of those things where we know it's BS, but there's not really much we can do about it because of kind of they're able to do the crime and do the investigation. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out in the chat. We got Herbert Scott in the house. What up? What up? We got Little Miss Chocolate. Yo, Little Miss Chocolate in the house. I ain't seen you in a minute. It's been a long time. I'm glad you back.
Probably like, I ain't seen you.
She's like, I ain't see you. Where you been? The last show was in April. What you doing? Oh man. So this idea of just being able to sully any reputation whenever you want is, I mean, it's sad because he had this, but that's the problem they had with both of them, Jean. Because dude, there was nothing. They had nothing on him. It's like, well, what does he do? This dude does mad outreach programs, helps everybody in the neighborhood around him, goes on mission trips, sings in the choir.
He's a church boy
Yeah,
that keeps books.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing we can do. So when they found him, and he was the only one who testified to the whole, like I heard a conversation. Like it sounded like two people meeting by surprise. Mm-hmm. Like he was the only one, and then all of a sudden he killed in a drug deal. Miss you too, little Miss Chocolate. Miss you too. It's good.
It's amazing to me how disposable we are.
Yeah.
You know, it's not surprising. Anyone in their right mind, any black person in their right mind at this point should not be surprised by anything that happened. We're continuously, I think, hurt and continuously disappointed, continuously angered, but surprise should not still be something that is felt.
Yeah, it's not really surprise. It's more just like this disappointment that just rings around.
But now the question is, what do we do?
Yeah, what can we do? I mean, we can push. This is something that I've been saying, and something that I've been saying is that we need to press on this case against the Dallas PD for corruption in the Amber Guyger trial. Yeah, that's right. See, that's right. We want that corruption case. But the prosecution brought up how the trial or the investigation was tainted from the moment they arrived because of how it was handled. Right. And then went on to like the Rangers and what they said and stuff like that. So I think we need a corruption case. I don't know what the corruption, obstruction case against the Dallas PD themselves, including all the officers that were there and told her, don't say nothing, and was hugging her and stuff. All them people need to be in that. In Dallas PD as a whole, and then a civil case against Amber Guyger herself for because there's also besides the murder trial, which is criminal. I'm sure there's a civil case to be had. What I'm saying?
This is honestly, I think,
because I mean, like that's the only thing we can do. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I think whether or not the civil case against the LAPD is upheld, because in the article I was reading, it's there's a judge that's supposed to determine whether or not they're going to let them really go through, which I think is crazy. Yeah. Let them really go through with suing the police department. If that is upheld, then I think it'll be a better chance of there being an investigation of the police department, which means there's more reason to disallow them to to sue the police department so that there won't be an investigation. I mean, we know how this works.
Yeah.
We know how this works. I will say this though. We have to all agree that it is a milestone, I guess, if you will, that Amber Guyger was even
found guilty of murder one.
And sentenced to her little 10 years. But
with good behavior, which is really probably going to be like 4 or 5.
It's a start, Lord Jesus. My first thought though on that was, so you mean to tell this lady that her baby's life was worth 10 years of this woman's life?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it as a mom. That's the way I look at it. Is you're telling this woman that her baby's life was only worth 10 years or less of this woman's life. Because that's how I would translate it as a mother sitting in the courtroom.
Yeah, good point. Now to the chat, big shout out to Little Miss Chocolate, of course. Shot by Nolan is in the house. What is up? Herbert Scott said, absolutely. After this latest shooting, we definitely need federal oversight in Dallas, amongst other cities. Yeah, there needs to be some kind of, I don't know. There needs to be some type of, well, all right, I'll say one thing we need is higher than 480p on body cameras. I was like, 480p? I knew you were going to. I was like, 480p? I was like, dude, y'all can't ink a deal with GoPro. GoPro got 4K visuals, son. But of course, like you said,
people have better resolution jumping off the sides of mountains on Saturday morning.
yeah, it's like so. But I think, like you said, the idea is to keep the resolution just bad enough,
right?
So that you can be murky with your story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like 4K doesn't exist on cameras this size.
It's not like you don't have a tech team that I'm sure is yelling every day.
Like 480p.
Why I gotta deal with this.
Yeah. So you got that. Then we do need some kind of any footage that comes out of a camera on an officer needs to be streamed all the time to some type of offsite server that the police don't even control.
Right.
Then like Herbert Scott is talking about, there does need to be like some kind of maybe not even federal. Yep. Like maybe not even federal, like somebody that's disassociated sort of, that's able to kind of like, I guess, fact check them or double check or make sure, you know, like it's like you front
some
you.
Sort of independent agency.
Yeah, something that has the weight but also is disassociated, which sort of doesn't exist, but it's them handing it off to the Rangers. It's like, yo, that's like me saying, that's like you saying, all right, I ain't gonna let your brother investigate you. I'm gonna let your cousin investigate you. it's like, really though?
Is the cousin you cool with, or is the cousin who don't really like you though?
Yeah, it's like so it. But guys, of course, this story keeps unfolding like crazy. So we'll see what goes on or how it goes on and how it happens. But to lighten things up, you know, we got a MCU story, a film story, a Martin Scorsese story, if you will. Martin Scorsese, of course, you know, amazing director, filmmaker, all that good stuff. He was approached. He has I believe the Irishman coming up. Yep. See, he already know the story, and he's been questioned about MCU, and he made a statement about them being like theme park rides, and you know, it's not real cinema, and it's just. At first, a lot of people were trying to cop pleas for him, like, oh, well, you know, he didn't mean it like that. But he doubled down, I believe, yesterday, talking about like they're invading these theme park type movies, are invading cinema, and cinemas need to essentially like push back. And here's the problem I have with, because this isn't brand new. This is like the cinephile kind of attitude towards gatekeeping film. And, you know, I mean, it's the Oscar thing. If it's not a biopic, if it's not trying to make you cry, if it's not extremely long and slow, then it's not a film. I think to not put a value on how hard it is to build, what is it, 22, 23 films that are interconnected and still make sense and are still entertaining and have emotional weight. No other company, no other person has done this. No. That's right. No other person has done this. No, never gonna get it. And you've seen some Marvel films.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a few since being married to you. But you know, I think this is a really arrogant thing, you know, to say. You know, regardless of how you feel about you know, these films, whether you like them or not, we have to be really careful, you know, with saying, oh, because this is what I do, because this is what I like, and this is what I consider to be film, I'm gonna go over here and trash what you do.
Yeah, I'm a gatekeep you.
For you to sit here and say this after all of these films have been made, and all of them have, or most of them have been so extremely successful, and they have such a fan following, for you to say, oh, it's not real film. Well, it's making very real dollars.
Yeah, it's making real money.
Making very real news. So it's just, you know, you could say it's not your thing.
Yeah.
And you see that it is changing how film is being viewed, that would be a fair statement. But for you to be like, oh, it's just like, it's not real film, it's not real cinema, it's amusement park. And that's the other thing. Okay, what if it is amusement park? People like amusement parks.
Yeah. Well, also people act like this is brand new. Big budget movies, big budget cinema has been around for a long time. Marvel didn't just start this. So if it wasn't Marvel, it would be the action movies of the 90s or it'd be the sci-fi movies of whatever. So they act like this is brand new. And if it wasn't, say if Marvel didn't exist, there would still be a big budget movie. There would still be some $200 million movie being made. It just wouldn't be Marvel.
I think his issue is because it's become so huge.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's really, really huge now. You know, it's overwhelmed, um, and kind of overshadowed the dramas that come out, and you know, anything else like that.
Yeah.
It's just become really large in terms of when you're looking at the whole field of films that come out. MCU is humongous, and he, for whatever reason, he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Um,
He like that dude in
he
Belly that's
doesn't
like, I don't like
respect it.
that. I'm
Yeah,
gonna drop a dime on them.
yeah, he doesn't respect it, and I think
He got a little hate in his blood.
yeah,
Got a
because
little
my
hate,
thing is
a little
you
bit of
should
hate.
be able to respect somebody else's art, whether you like it or not. And to
Yeah.
me, that's the problem. You don't
True.
have to like it, just like you don't have to like a person, but you need to respect them as a person.
Yeah.
You don't have to like MCU, but you need to respect it as film
For what it's done.
for what
Yeah.
for what it's done and what it is, and that there is a large.
They trying to get us, y'all. They coming for it. See what happened when you talk about Martin Scorsese? See what happened?
There is you know, a large following, and for you to, I mean, were you just totally disregarding that following
Yeah.
of people? Like,
Yeah, it's I guess I'll leave it on this and big shout out to Herbert Scott because you're leading into the next story. I think a lot of directors that aren't involved with big budget films don't understand the degree of difficulty. They think that, oh, well, if your film is just about sad people being sad or emotions or something or is dramatic, then that's tough. Coordinating fight scenes, yep, thank you. Coordinating fight scenes, living up to hype. That's a whole nother thing. Pyrotechnics, car chases, all of this stuff is a skill. Handling it, you can say what you want about J.J. Abrams, Michael Bay, any of these guys that do big budget films. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? People just say, oh, explosion, explosion. No, this stuff ain't easy. So I think if you took Martin Scorsese and told him to make, you know, like a MCU film or a Star Wars film or Star Trek film, I think that his opinion would change on how hard it is. Living up to hype. Think about this: Avengers Endgame, well, Infinity War and Endgame had to cap off 20 something movies and make sense and be emotional and bring an end while also sort of teasing a beginning to a new. Who else? The Russo brothers. Those movies could have went wrong 3 billion ways, but they both went right. And I think before someone like Martin Scorsese says something, I think they should try doing something like that and see how they feel after. Because it's always easy. That's right. He can't do it. So it's like, it's always easy to create your own thing, but fitting inside of someone else's style guide and working it out that way, I don't know if everybody's able to do it. You know what I'm saying? And do it well. So big shout out to Herbert Scott. He said that's basically how all Hollywood feels about Tyler Perry. Whining doesn't stop grinding. True that. And then he also said, I'm a Casino on back Scorsese fan. His last few movies were trash, except for the DiCaprio and Nicholas joint. True. So with that said, Tyler Perry has ascended, and I'm excited because not only has he opened his studio up to, you know, just Hollywood in general, but also independent creators. Yeah. And if you don't know, Tyler Perry now owns the largest studio outright himself, all on his own, on his back, doing his thing. And
he what now? Is he renting it?
No, he owns it. It's his.
You said
all his.
You said he has investors?
No investors. It's all his.
Oh,
He
okay.
owns it. It's his hands.
And he's a black man.
And he black.
And he's the first to do this.
First to do this.
Okay, ever.
And he been hiring black people for a long time. He been putting money in a whole bunch of black people pockets. So that's another thing. A lot of people like to jump on Tyler Perry. They like to be like, oh, Tyler Perry this, Tyler Perry that. Tyler Perry on the sneak has been doing some very revolutionary stuff on the quiet tip.
Yeah.
Like if you look through his career at all the careers that he started, careers that he's rejuvenated, and the money he's put in people's
careers
pockets.
that he's maintaining.
True.
Because he actually, for a lot of the actors and actresses he uses in his TV shows, a lot of them are the same actors and actresses that began in his plays.
True.
Because a lot of his shows were, I guess you could say, spin-offs, if you will, from his plays.
Yeah.
And the actors,
which was a good idea because that's property that you own.
Right. And also he already had a following.
Yep.
And those actors and actresses, Tamala Mann, David Mann, they were with him from the very beginning, from his first plays, and he's still employing them.
True.
You know, they are still, with him.
And it's amazing to see because I've been a Tyler Perry fan. Well, one, I remember when he had like the DVDs coming out way back. And I was like, what is this whackness? This stuff is crazy. Don't nobody want to watch no play on TV. And I remember he dropped Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And that joke it's still kind of like a comedy to me. Like when she throws him in the tub.
I mean, parts of it, but it's real,
it's supposed to be a serious story.
I think especially for Black women, it's some really serious stuff in there.
It's some very serious stuff. But it's just the way he dumped him in the tub. It's just mad funny stuff in there. But I started focusing on what he was doing. I was like, okay, so he's independent. He's making this stuff. Okay. And I was like, I still don't like his stories. Like, well, no, let me take that back. I like Tyler Perry's stories. I feel like he's not good at handling dialogue. But I was like, yo, he's doing his thing. Black man, hold it down. Word, I got you. No problem. Cool. So he starts making TV shows. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. You take it to another level. And then, and of course, a show that we know, Have and Have Nots.
Oh my.
Are you sure?
Oh my God. I think it's required that each episode somebody has to say, are you sure? At least 20 times.
Yeah. But once again, a show where he's employing a bunch of Black people. Yeah. And not only on the screen, but behind the camera as well.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, cool, I got an opportunity here's a little baby. I got a chance to meet Tyler Perry. Sort of, kind of. It was like a press thing and we all got to ask questions. So anyway, I sort of got a chance to meet him. And he talked about his process of filming. It was at the YouTube space. I told you about it. I want to say it was right before Boo, the first Boo movie came out. Boo. Lord. But the Boo movie drops and they did a event at the YouTube space for press. I go to it and he starts talking about his process of filming the movie in like 2 days or something like that. And as someone who is essentially sort of a one-man band, from that description of how he filmed that and how he set it up, my appreciation just it was done. It opened up. Like as far as his workflow, of course, I would write his movies differently. I think his major storylines are fine, like the overarching storyline, but it's just a personal interaction sometimes where I'm like, ugh. But once he talked about his process of making it, I was sold. I was like, this dude is real. And now seeing this, imagine all of we don't even have to imagine. There's documented accounts of people that are Black going to studios, wanting to shoot something or wanting to make something and being turned away or being double booked or overscheduled or something and they can't do it. Now you have the largest studio by a Black man that you can go to that's probably not going to turn down your idea. He's going to be like, you can come here and go in and film and do your thing. And then also naming all these sound stages after legendary people, even like Spike Lee. And Spike Lee has been quite critical of Tyler Perry. But you can see that Tyler Perry's like, look, this about us.
Yeah.
This ain't about no beef.
Yeah.
This about us.
Yeah.
And I'm about to change all of this. This whole Hollywood thing about to change. And I've got the opportunity to make it change. That's right. That's what I'm saying. So I'm excited about this. Who knows what this will turn into in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, and I love, I really love what he said when he was receiving his Icon Award. And he said, he pretty much said, look, we need to focus. We as Black people need to focus on having our own. He said, while we're so busy asking for a seat at the table, I'm building my own table.
Yep.
And I loved that. Gave me chills just even saying it. Yeah. But I love that whole concept, and I love that he did it without announcing everything step by step. This is what I'm gonna do, and this is what no, he just did it. I really like that he didn't feel the need to make all of these different announcements about what he is going to do, what he's working on, what he's trying to do. He just up and did it, and he's like, okay, now that I've done it, I want everybody to come together with
Let's
me.
make something
Everybody
dope.
that I've pretty much touched in any way, shape, or form. I'm inviting, however many 500, 800 people they said it was.
Yeah.
And we're just going to all celebrate all of our accomplishments
and our possibilities
and where we go from here. And it was just I can't even imagine being there for that night. That had to be a beautiful thing. And it was just amazing. And then the whole, like you said, the naming the different studios after some of the actors, I think was just a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah,
this was the ultimate celebration of us, as of Black people in terms of quote unquote Hollywood. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
When I say that. In terms of Black actors and performers. Yeah. And it was just, man.
And I mean, imagine just there's so many opportunities to really really take a step forward in our own representation and owning our own projects, which is a beautiful thing. And one thing that I really love about at least Black Hollywood is that they came out in droves.
Yeah.
And it was dope. Ooh. So with that said, Tyler Perry is on boss level right now, and I just can't wait to see what fruit this brings in the next 5-10 years, because it could be extremely just exciting, especially for content creators that may have not had a space before to do their thing, trying to go to CBS or Paramount or Universal or Disney or whoever. Now they have a space from someone who looks like them, who understands them, who's rooting for them to win. So that's just fresh. It's fresh, and I'm excited about it. Now in some I guess sad but kind of good news. There was a judge in Florida. The second you say that state's name, it's some BS coming behind it. Second you say in Florida, it's like, what? You know what? We need some people from Florida to be like how they feel when they watch the local news. They'll be like, here it comes.
Like, I want to think about that.
So in Florida, there was a judge. There was a young man that was jailed because he didn't actually show up to court. He was one of the jurors, correct?
Yes.
One of the jurors. And he didn't show up, and he was put in jail for, of course, not being there. Herbert Scott said he's a Florida resident. I agree 100%. Yo, man, I don't know. Yo, what y'all be doing? So anyway, dude goes to jail for not being in the jury, not showing up. And everybody was like, all right, well, why'd you put him in jail? And the judge, paraphrasing, the judge was like, well, he's the only Black juror, so he should have known he's supposed to be here because he got to represent for that demographic. It's very important for him to be here. So I'm like, so it's important for him to be here, so you put him in jail. Like, and everybody was Lady Lisa is straight hilarious. So everybody's looking at him like that, and they're like, okay, what? And then of course this news hits the national stage, and then of course the judge then has a change of heart. After a weekend of reflection, Judge Castrenakis, I'm pretty sure I'm messing that up, but I apologize, said he came to the conclusion that Somerville's apology was moving, sincere, and heartfelt. He wrote, I know he has been totally rehabilitated.
Rehabilitated?
Rehabilitated for what? I didn't show. It was an accident. It won't like a.
Did he miss duty because he was out selling crack?
Yeah.
Where did he get rehabilitated from?
Yeah. So the judge also wrote, upon reflection, that redemption should be immediately rewarded by vacating any finding of contempt. Look,
okay, let's start here. All right, let's start here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you take it because I'm flustered.
I understand that this wasn't a case of he was in the pool of jurors to be chosen.
Yeah, he was on the stand.
The trial was about to start.
Yep.
He was supposed to be one of the jurors. So I understand that's serious because when you have a missing juror, then of course, you know, it throws everything off. I get all of that. I understand. But the issue is this. I think what he did was overkill because he gave him time in jail.
True.
He gave him community service.
And gave him a record.
Yeah, and gave him a record for someone who never had a record. So how I got jury duty and end up with a record?
Thank you. And Herbert Scott says he abused his power as a judge. He needs to be removed to teach him a lesson, which I agree with. I agree. Like, yo, he gotta go. Also, Herbert Scott said Florida major cities are cool. It's all these small counties. And towns where people do crazy stuff. Yeah, because I've been to Orlando before and I loved it. Orlando was amazing. Friend of mine, friend of the show, Mark B. Donica, is down in Orlando right now working with WWE. So that's awesome. I've been to Miami before. It was fun, but I don't know what happens. Y'all outside of y'all two cities, all right? Y'all got two cities, and outside of that, y'all just go crazy. But I do believe there does need to be and we were talking about this with another judge. There needs to be some type of judicial review when in stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like that can convene within 24 hours and be like, all right, this is like, I don't know what this judge is doing, but it was the free meat joint. There should be like a group of judges, you know, in each state or something that's maybe like a group of, I don't know, 7 judges. And they come together whenever something stupid like this happens, and it's their job to convene very quickly because of dumb stuff going on. Yeah. And they can come together and be like, all right, man, I don't know what's going on, but you tripping, and he's not going to jail. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know what's up with you, and you need to stop bugging.
Something has to be done, but I can understand why, you know, they would not be quick to do something like that, because then you don't want a system where every judge's judgment, if you will, is
kind of overturned.
Not my
view. Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like,
because the judge they're supposed to have, you know, the wisdom, the oversight, the knowledge, the whatever, to make these final decisions and to say, okay, then there's this ongoing standby group, if you will, that can review it, overturn.
Like you can throw a flag. You can throw a flag on your play, and like the judges will come in and review it.
It would be skewing the system, but I understand something has to be done.
Yeah, because judges are definitely abusing their power, like Herbert said. Yeah, it's getting crazy.
Yeah.
But he's not in jail no more, which is, I guess, the best we can ask for. So that's it on that one.
Florida, to use him as an example.
Yeah, he was trying to make an example. And once again, Black people always got to be the example.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like whenever this example to come up is somebody Black. It's never somebody white. And white people been doing some crazy stuff in the last 2 years. We ain't got to reach back. in the last 2 years. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of crazy stuff. Look at old girl walking around with the book talking about Brock Turner and what happened to her. Ain't no example made of him. She was passed out. Won't no example made there. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna pass all that because we got some polls to talk about. Ain't that right, NERDSoul? Ain't that right, little baby? That's right. We got okay. So majority of Americans say that they endorse the opening of a House impeachment inquiry by Trump. And some even go further, saying, I'm down for him being removed from office.
Right.
Now, a whole bunch of studies were done, like whether you want the impeachment or just the hearing or the study, all that good stuff. Then a study came out saying, well, 25% of Republicans 25% of Republicans say, you know what? I'm down with impeachment. And that's when Twitter said, oh, 25% of Republicans, this is a big thing. Yeah. And it gets turned and twisted to, oh, it's only 25% of people by the president himself. But it's like, no, it's 25% of your people. Yeah. The rest of the people, it's like at 58%. So you're kind of playing with numbers here, and you need to fix it up a little bit. But my question to you guys is, and to you, I think you guys know how I feel. I'll question you, and then I'll ask how you feel. Are you interested in a House impeachment inquiry? And are you interested in him being removed from office? Now, I'll answer first because I ain't going to ask y'all to do something I wouldn't do. 1, yes, inquiry. 2, yes, removed from office. Should have been done like last year. I don't know like why it shouldn't take this long. I don't know. Like this inquiry should have been going on for a long time. So I don't even know what's the discussion about. Why are we even here, son? Like we got mad documents. All right, we got documents from the whistleblower. We got what's the dude Mueller report? If you put them joints together, plus the dumb stuff that his son, the emails his son put out, where it showed he was trying to commit a crime, he just couldn't. It's like you put all these pieces together. See, NERDSoul Light know what's up. So you put all that together, slam dunk. I don't see what the question. I don't see what we talk about here. It's like thank you next.
I think the whole issue with Ukraine is what took it over the top for people.
Yeah,
which I'm not understanding. It baffles me of what breaks the camel's back.
Yeah,
for some people. Why does this break the camel's back for people with all the foolishness, all of the just outright foolishness, outright? I don't think there's been a presidency where anybody has said more. Can he do that?
Yeah, there's been. I have literally asked you. There's been many times where something's happened, I'll be like, "Yo, can you do that? You can't do that, can you?"
I don't think there's been a presidency where people have found themselves more tilting their head to the side, squinting their eyes, going, "What?
Can you do
that?" He did. What?
We have heard the word unprecedented more times in this presidency than maybe at least the last, I don't know, 7 to 8 presidencies.
We've heard the word unprecedented more than when we had the first Black president.
And look, it's not unprecedented for a good one. It'd be like, all right, here's a good unprecedented. It'd be like, yo, it's unprecedented. This president has solved homelessness. And everybody, there's no homelessness. This is unprecedented. That would be a dope unprecedented. You'd be like, oh snap, I like this unprecedented. This is awesome. Or you'd be like, it's unprecedented. This president has raised the test scores of all public schools, and on top of that has refurbished, or the schools that's like breaking down, refurbished them or fixed them or whatever. You'd be like, oh, that's unprecedented. You'd be like, I'm just giving examples of good.
Led by his Secretary of Education that don't know nothing about.
I'm just saying that would be a good.
That don't know nothing about, and I'm gonna say it about secretarian or education.
She is the worst. I'm just saying those would be good unprecedented.
Yeah, I know.
You'd be like, oh snap, this is awesome. This is the most unprecedentedness we've ever seen. But unfortunately, our unprecedentedness is not good.
None of it.
Herbert Scott says inquiry and removal. He's far too irrational and toxic for the office. He said, imagine Barack doing 25% of what 45 has done. True that, man. Yo,
Lord.
the dude wore a tan suit.
And they lost it. And Michelle wore a dress with no sleeves.
Man.
And people lost their monkey mind.
Man. So Shot by Nolan said, yes, sir, the inquiry is long overdue. Unprecedented, that is their favorite word. Because it's like, you don't know. Because there's bad times, like I remember being at a job, and from me asking the question, can you do this? Someone got fired. So I've been in situations where like, you can't do that, can you? And there's been mad times where in this presidency where I'm like, can you do that? Can you do that? And I guess we'll see where this inquiry goes. Big shout out to Rashida Tlaib for starting the whole, when she was like, we're going to impeach the MF. She set this all off. I ain't trying to hear nothing about no white women walking around getting fluff pieces by the CNN. We ain't trying to hear all that. We know who was there first. Whole white women trying to walk in slow mo on camera and stuff. It's like, look, ain't nobody trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all whack. So, with that said, now we know where y'all at. Y'all down for impeachment? Cool, no doubt. We here. All right. So we got some fun stuff. We got some fun stuff to get into. You know, and it deals with Trump's people. Shepard Smith has decided to leave Fox News, which is interesting because Shepard Smith has been probably, well, maybe not the only, but one of the only voices that has ever, strayed from Trump. He's the only one. He's one of the only ones that been like, yo, man, look, I'm not really all sold on this Trump thing. Like, I mean, I'm sold on it, but I'm not sold on it. And of course, he's had dissenting voices, a couple of times during his, current presidency run. And it's just interesting how this comes out of nowhere and seems to stun his colleagues, and it's brand new and there ain't nobody see this coming. Could it be a situation? And I said this, the Republican Party is kind of dealing with 2 to 3 parties right now. You got the Tea Party that never gained ground, that had to go back home to the Republican Party. You have the old school Republicans, and then you have the young Republicans. And I don't think he's feeling this new kind of Trumpian wave.
You don't think?
I think he had to bounce.
It sounds like there was some sort of top secret meeting, where execs and CEOs and whatnot had a meeting with him. And for whatever reason, everyone agreed that it would be best if he were to just quietly step down in a way, cut him a nice, beautiful check.
Yeah.
And just go away.
Because they were probably on some, look, all right, you coming too hard with the criticisms, you can get down or lay down. And he was probably like, all right, look, you know what, I'll bow. Going to give me my severance package, and I'm out. And it's just interesting.
Yeah, because he has a non-compete agreement. He can't go and work anywhere else.
Yeah. So
probably don't need to with all the millions.
Yeah, but with that non-compete, as big as he is, he could probably go independent and still do well. He's huge. I'm not checking out Shepard Smith every day, but I know he's got the juice. All right, he's got the Republican juice. But I just thought that was interesting to see, this news come right behind the 25% down for impeachment news. I thought it was interesting because I'm pretty sure he was getting ready to do a show based around that. And they said, you can't do no show on this. Right. And he said, this is my dang show. I do what I want to do.
And because it's influence, that's the thing.
Yeah.
With him, breaking down impeachment and everything around it would be too much of a big influence. And I'm sure the powers that be were like, nope, nope, nobody,
Nope. You got to take your butt home, and you fired or you resign.
They don't. These people don't get fired.
Well, yeah, they get to resign quietly.
They say, you should resign, and it's like,
yeah.
in what other world? Because we're a bizarro world with Trump in office. It's a bizarro world.
Yeah.
You know, people aren't fired. They request that you resign so that we may pay you. What? I mean, from what I remember, it's like it ain't been that long since I ain't been working, babe.
Yeah.
From what I remember, you get fired.
Yeah, you get fired.
Here is your
You get laid
check.
off or you get fired. They pull you into that room. When you don't even get a chance to log in. You get to your computer like, can we see?
They have them 2 lonely chairs, one for you, one for them,
and one for them. They got
space.
documents they need you to sign that you fired and you gonna leave. And they got and while you in there, someone is boxing up your desk. Man, look, tell it. but yeah, that's real firing. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna move on. We got some fun stuff to end with. See, we got some fun stuff. Fun stuff. Jamaica is trying to steal Rihanna from Barbados. That's the best way you can say it. All right, check it.
First of all, what took y'all so long? Rihanna been out how many
years? They was waiting for the best time to strike.
Like, she about ready to retire. See, when you start putting out makeup lines,
you done. You got one more album. You got like one more good album in you, and you gonna be.
Queen Latifah came out with her makeup line. She was pretty much done.
Yep.
Iman came out with her makeup line. She been done.
Yep.
Rihanna came out with hers in some underwear.
Yep. She got clothes and drawers and
stuff.
So
where you been?
Well, here from paper, Rihanna famously hails from Barbados. She stays plugged into Bajan politics, has an official ambassador position, and goes home every year to serve looks at the Crop Over Festival. Who wouldn't want to who wouldn't want to have Rihanna as their countrywoman? Indeed, apropos of nothing, Jamaican Twitter has launched their campaign to steal Rihanna's nationality. The joke's premise is essentially the rest of the world is so ignorant about the Caribbean, i.e. the only thing they know about it is Rihanna. We can tell them Rihanna is ours and they'll never know the difference. And that's what started the whole Rihanna is Jamaican.
But my thing is, if y'all had done this from the beginning, I would agree.
Yeah, I would have been like, oh snap, Rihanna's Jamaican.
But everybody knows.
Every interview she's been in, she's talked about Barbados, son. Now, look, I'm black. People in Jamaica black. I know we all same family. It's just different roads after we left home. I'll just say that. I don't know where Barbados is, but I know Barbados is not Jamaica. Because it's Barbados.
It's like you've had your car for 20 years. You've been driving your car for 20 years, living in the same neighborhood for 20 years. And your neighbor gonna steal your car. Talking about this my car.
This my whip.
Sir.
This my whip.
You've been my car for 20 years. You've been my neighbor for 20 years. Everyone in this neighborhood has lived here for 20 years. They know this ain't your car.
This ain't your car. So that I thought that was fun. Yeah. So with that, we have a little more fun. We have a little more fun to go. We got academics and yes, Jules. That's what I'm saying. So academics and yes, Jules, for some reason, could not get along on Twitter. And I don't know exactly what the not getting along included, but he goes on this internet or this Twitter tirade, if you will. And Herbert Scott said this just in, Haiti would like to throw in the hat for Rihanna is Haitian. Oh man. So we have this idea where I guess yes, Jules said something to academics. And if you in the chat and you know exactly how it started, let me know. It came up on my radar because academics, he went in. He talked about how she slept her way to the top, how she's been whacked, how she's industry, how he don't mess with industry, even though he definitely messes with industry people. Academics, yeah, he was just mad on that one. That's what I'm saying. So he goes on, I'm not industry, I don't mess with y'all, I don't do your thing, don't come for me, I don't come for you. And then goes into, of course, like I said, how she slept her way to the top, and then drops her sex tape at the end of this joint. That was some extreme flames, some extreme fire from academics who never struck me as someone who's got the flames. But he's now, of course, yes, Jules is the white girl, so I mean, I guess it's a little bit easier to have flames for her. But you know, he came out swinging, and we haven't really seen no return fire.
Well, we saw, after someone drops a sex tape, you kind of
gotta like creep down.
Unless she has a sex tape on him, which it won't have the same effect.
The academic sex tape.
Yeah, it won't have the same effect. So she needs to just go away. And you know, for me, for someone who's not on Twitter, like when I say not on Twitter, I don't mean I go on there sometimes. What I mean is I am not on Twitter. I think I made a Twitter account at some point in, I don't know, some years ago for some reason. I'm not on Twitter. So when I see stuff like this, I'm just like, okay, what's going on?
Because I'm on Twitter a pretty decent amount. I'm on Twitter, and then for some reason, I'm like, hold up, why are they fighting? How did the fight start?
It just looks childish. I think if people step back, you know, after having a few exchanges, if they step back and they look at the exchanges from beginning to where they are and see how childish, you know, and petty it all is, you would stop. Because I'm assuming they're two grown people, right?
Yeah, their academics is probably in his late 20s, early 30s, something like that. And yes, Jules probably around this too. You know what I'm saying? They you know, it's not like yes, Jules and academics are both 16.
They're grown. Well, they're grown enough.
Yeah, grown enough.
They're grown enough, and it's just like, just stop. You know, if you don't like something he said, something he did, fine. But this is the other thing. Stop being over. And again, I don't know the history of it, but stop being overly sensitive when you're someone that's already out there in the public eye, and somebody says something about what you said that you don't like. You know, stop going off, because the thing is, if people have a right to express, you know, what they like about something you said,
and as long as you're not disrespectful,
attacking them personally and putting out people's sex tapes.
Well, I mean, her sex tape was already out. He just reminded everybody that, like, don't forget
the pettiness of it.
Yeah, it was mad petty.
The childishness.
Yes. Academics does strike me as a petty person. But homie took the gloves off on that one. I was surprised.
Like I told you, I had to ask you, who are these people? I've heard of academics.
Yes, Jules is a rapper and host and kind of like internet celebrity, and Academics is a commentator, hip hop commentator mostly. But he also talks about other topics as well, but mostly based on hip hop.
I had heard his name before, but I had no idea who he was. I had never heard her name before.
Yeah.
You know what? So I don't know.
She's famously known as the white girl that drops the N-bomb a whole lot, and I don't know why people let her do that.
The same way they let Cardi, the same reason they let Cardi B do it.
Oh, look. You know what? We got one more topic. We ain't gonna touch that. We ain't gonna mess with that right now. But you know where we going with that. Oh, Max Evans in the house. What up? What up? What up? It's nice to see Max Evans, even though you crazy, but it's nice to see you. Shot by Nolan said 2 bozos fighting over who's the biggest vulture. Yeah, pretty much. So we got one last story. Update. Blackface is still bad. Over in France, there is this cosplayer that used blackface to be a character, and she went into a competition and she won. And there's another Comic Con that she's trying to get into, and that Comic Con said, no blackface here. And as someone, Shot by Nolan says, academics acts just like his audience. I kind of agree. I gotta agree on that one. But this young lady, and let me see if I can get her name. What is her name? Alice Livenart. I think it's Alice Livenart. But she won't compete at the Euro Cosplay Finals because she was accused of blackface. She's not accused; she was doing blackface. Like it's like using alleged when it's like, yeah, we got tape though. It's not alleged no more. Like we see it. Like so.
That's your face.
So
black.
So if you don't know about cosplay in genre culture, geek culture, horror culture, whatever, a lot of people will dress up as certain characters of video games, comic books, movies, whatever. And sometimes say if you're black, your character that you're dressing up as is white, but you don't paint yourself white, you don't put on white makeup, you just put on like the suit and you go, and people know who it is. You don't have to be whiteface. But for some reason, even though black people don't do whiteface, and Asian people or whatever don't put on white makeup to be white. Well, Asian people do lighten their skin a lot, but that's a whole other thing.
But the example I use also, we were talking about this yesterday, is that how offended would people be if people cosplayed all of these different Asian characters, and if someone did the whole costume and they used tape to slant their eyes. That's extremely offensive.
Yeah.
How offended would people be if they did that?
True.
So if you think about how offensive that is, and I actually cringe when I think about doing that because it is so offensive, that is the equivalent of blackface.
Yep. And the only thing is, the only reason I would say it would be worse as far as blackface is because we know the history is tied to. It's tied to a little bit of a darker history than just, like people pretending to be Asian on cinema.
Well, the whole blackface has a dark history.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is blackface is a little darker than the slanted eye history. Yeah. But I'm gonna say it one more time. I don't know why we should say it, but blackface is bad. And stop using cosplay to do blackface because it's not funny, it's not cool, it's not cute. And if I see you, like I'm going to LA Comic Con today, I'll be there. If you're gonna be there on the last day, holler at me.
And can I also?
I'm gonna call you out.
Can I also put this out there? If you are so focused on the fact that a character is black, that you feel like you have to make yourself black in order to portray yourself as that character, you need to rethink how you really feel about that character.
Yep.
And I don't mean to make it deep, but I know
you're right.
But I know these cosplay events are deep. Y'all go hard. So the thing is this.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that out of all the things you put together in your costume, you've gotten all these other details down. Yeah. Why do you feel changing your skin color is such a significant thing that you have to do? And how do you feel that that's okay?
Yeah. And people can make the argument of, oh, she's in France, she might not have known. It's with the
France is not on another planet.
Thank you. With the prevailing, penetration of the internet and the conversations on cosplay, which she is a cosplayer, there's no way she has not heard of the term blackface and the implications and the hurt and harm behind it. Right. So yeah, stop doing blackface. It shouldn't be like we shouldn't have to go down this road again, but we do. But with that said, guys, that's it. We done for this week. We're glad we're back. This is our first day back. It's been so long. We would look, hey, next Sunday, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be chilling. Hopefully you'll be here. Now, big shout out to everybody in the chat. Little Miss Chocolate said right, Lady Lisa. She said she with you on that one. And put mad hearts. We got Herbert Scott in the house. We got NERDSoul Light in the house. Lisa in the house. We got Shot by Nolan in the house. We got Sean Kelly, aka Arcatron, roll through. So it's dope to see you. That's right. Check out his album dropping on October 29th, I think. I can't remember, but I think it's the 29th.
I'm trying to help you over there doing your little show.
Oh yeah. Hold on. And then Max Evans, what up? Shout by Nolan. We already gave you a shout out, but second shout out for you. Little Miss Chocolate, shout out to you. Usually people that are here that probably aren't here is Alan Lewis, Thought Crimes, big shout out to y'all. And big shout out to everyone who's watching this on the replay. Before I get out of here, big shout out to David Farrar of @GeekFineArt on Instagram. This is a artist-sponsored wall. Check it out on Instagram, GeekFineArt, spelled out normal. There ain't no Z for the S or nothing. Ain't no craziness. Just GeekFineArt on Instagram. Check them out. Has dope artwork just for you. So thanks for hanging with us. We're glad we're back. It's super. I'm excited. I'm excited because it's been so long. It's been so long since we got to talk about the foolishness. But we're back. We're back. We're back. So big shout out to all y'all. Good to see you. Glad you came through. And from us to you, we're just saying peace. Say peace. Say peace. 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 Goodbye, y'all. We out. We out. This way. We getting out of here. Peace out.